Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Vocab Booster series. Today we're exploring a really fun topic for IELTS speaking, growing vegetables. And even if you've never grown anything before, this lesson will give you tons of natural vocabulary, plus stories, examples and imagery to help everything stick. Let's jump right into it. When people think about growing vegetables, they often imagine big gardens. But even with just a balcony or a few pots, you can grow a surprising variety of plants. Let me walk you through a few common ones, and I'll tell you how they actually feel to grow. Zucchini. One of the first plants I ever tried growing was zucchini, and honestly, I didn't expect it to grow so fast. Zucchini is a long green vegetable that loves warm weather, and once it gets going, it grows like it's in a race. Last year, I planted just one small seedling in a pot, and within weeks, it had huge leaves and bright yellow flowers. I'd go out every morning and feel like it had doubled in size overnight. It almost felt like the plant had a personality, energetic, unstoppable, a little dramatic. Then there's lettuce, which is one of the easiest and most rewarding vegetables to grow. Lettuce has soft, crisp leaves and grows well even in small containers. I remember checking my lettuce one morning and noticing the leaves standing upright with this vibrant green colour. It just looked fresh. A few hours later, I picked some leaves and made a salad for lunch. There's something magical about eating something that was alive on your balcony just minutes earlier. Cucumbers are another fun one. They're long, crunchy, and usually eaten raw or pickled. When I grew cucumbers for the first time, I couldn't stop checking the tiny baby cucumbers, just a few centimetres long. Every week they grew a little more. Sometimes I'd gently lift a leaf to see how the fruits were developing. It felt a bit like watching children grow. And of course, herbs bring your garden to life. Basil is incredibly fragrant. Even brushing your hand against the leaves releases this fresh, slightly sweet aroma that reminds you of pasta sauces and summer. Mint, on the other hand, has that clean, cooling scent. One small pot of mint can make an entire balcony smell refreshing, especially after watering. Now imagine this. On a sunny balcony, zucchini leaves stretch outward, lettuce forms a neat cluster of green leaves, cucumbers hang from a small trellis, and pots of basil and mint spread their fragrance through the warm air. Keeping this image in your mind helps the words come alive as you describe your own garden. When you talk about gardening, it's not just about the plants, it's also about the space where everything grows. Even tiny spaces can feel like a personal green world. A balcony garden is exactly that, turning your balcony into your own little ecosystem. I love stepping outside and seeing my balcony filled with different shades of green. Even though the space is small, it feels like a private mini-garden that belongs only to me. It's peaceful, and it makes apartment life feel more connected to nature. Most of my plants grow in pots, which are simple, round containers. I like arranging pots in groups, basil beside mint, lettuce on the windowsill, a bigger pot for zucchini on the floor. Each pot has its own character, and watering them in the morning feels like greeting different little friends. If you want more stability, a raised bed is perfect. I built a small raised bed on my balcony using wooden boards. It doesn't look fancy, but the soil drains well, and the plants love it. When my cucumbers started climbing the trellis inside the raised bed, I felt like I was running a proper garden, not just a balcony. And don't underestimate a windowsill. That tiny flat space below a window is ideal for herbs. A pot of mint or thyme there gets just enough sunlight. Sometimes, when I open the window in the morning, the scent of herbs drifts inside the kitchen. It's simple but really enjoyable. Visualize it. Rows of pots, a raised bed with climbing plants, and herbs on the windowsill, all thriving in sunlight. This mental image links the vocabulary with real-life scenes. Talking about gardening naturally in IELTS means using the right action words, the verbs that describe what you actually do as a gardener. To plant something means to put seeds or young plants into soil. I remember planting cherry tomatoes in small pots last spring. I pressed each seed into the soil, covered it gently, and hoped it would sprout. Watching the first tiny green shoot appear felt like a little miracle. To water is simply to give your plants a drink. Every morning before the day gets busy, I water my lettuce and herbs. The droplets settle on the leaves, and the whole plant seems to perk up instantly, like it's waking up along with me. The verb harvest describes one of the most exciting actions in gardening: collecting fully grown vegetables. The first time I harvested a zucchini, I couldn't believe how heavy it was. It felt so rewarding to know I'd grown something from scratch, and now it was ready for dinner. To prune is to cut back parts of a plant so it grows better. My mint grows wild if I don't prune it. Sometimes I trim the stems, and the plant looks healthier within days. To fertilize is to add nutrients to the soil. Once a month, I sprinkle a little organic fertilizer in the raised bed, and I swear the plants respond instantly, almost like they're saying, "Thank you." Think of yourself planting seeds, watering them every morning, fertilizing the soil when the plants need extra nutrients, pruning your herbs, and finally harvesting fresh vegetables. When you imagine these actions clearly, the verbs become much easier to use naturally. Once your plants begin growing, you need the right adjectives to describe how they look and feel. These words make your IELTS speaking answers sound descriptive and vivid. A vigorous plant grows strongly and shows clear signs of vitality and energy. Its growth is fast and robust. I love seeing bright, crisp lettuce leaves standing tall. You can almost feel their freshness just by looking at them. That vibrant green colour and firm structure show the plant is truly vigorous and well nourished. A plant that's thriving is doing exceptionally well. My zucchini was thriving last summer. It produced so many flowers and fruits that I had to give some away to neighbours. If something is fragrant, it has a strong, pleasant smell. My basil is incredibly fragrant. Every time I brush my hand across the leaves, the whole kitchen fills with its aroma. Vibrant describes rich colour and full energy. After a week of sunshine, my spinach looks vibrant, deep green, fresh, full of life. It almost glistens after watering. Imagine walking into your garden and seeing vigorous lettuce, thriving zucchini, fragrant basil, and vibrant spinach. This mental picture anchors the vocabulary in real experiences. Gardening isn't always easy, and honestly, the challenges are what make your story sound real in the IELTS speaking test. Everyone loves talking about fresh vegetables, but what really shows your ability to describe experiences is how you talk about the difficult parts, the things that didn't go perfectly. Let me walk you through a few challenges I often face in my own little balcony garden. One of my biggest challenges is limited space. Since I only have a small balcony, I can't grow everything I want. There are moments when I stand outside, holding a new pot or packet of seeds and think, where on earth am I going to put this? Sometimes I end up moving pots around like I'm solving a puzzle, just to make everything fit. It forces me to choose carefully and grow only the plants I really love. Another challenge is that gardening can be time-consuming. People think it's just planting a seed and waiting. But some weeks, I'm watering in the morning, pruning in the afternoon, checking soil moisture, rotating pots for better sunlight. It becomes part of your daily routine whether you're tired or not. But the funny thing is, even though it takes time, I rarely feel annoyed. It's more like caring for a pet. You just do it because you've committed to it. Then there are pests, which can drive any gardener crazy. Last summer, tiny insects found their way to my lettuce. At first, I didn't even notice them. But one morning, I lifted a leaf and saw little bite marks everywhere. After that, checking the leaves became part of my morning ritual. I'd inspect each plant, remove damaged leaves, and sometimes gently wipe the insects away. It was frustrating, but it also taught me to be more observant and patient. And of course, watering mistakes, overwatering or underwatering, are extremely common. When I first tried growing spinach, I kept giving it more water because I thought that would make it grow faster. Instead, the leaves turned soft and droopy like they were exhausted. That's when I realised plants can actually drown. Now I pay closer attention to the soil instead of watering on a schedule. After talking about all the challenges, it's only fair to talk about the good side of growing vegetables, because honestly, the benefits are what keep me going. Gardening might take effort, but the enjoyment you get from it is something special. Let me share a few of the reasons I love it, and some useful IELTS vocabulary to describe those feelings. The first thing everyone notices is how fresh homegrown vegetables are. When you pick something straight from your balcony or garden, it doesn't just taste different, it tastes alive. I remember the first time I harvested my own spinach. I washed the leaves and made a simple salad, and the flavour was surprisingly sweet and crisp. It's the kind of freshness no supermarket can offer, because the leaves go from garden to plate in a matter of minutes. Another reason I love gardening is how satisfying it feels. There's this moment. You've watered, pruned, cared for the plant, and then suddenly you notice a tiny new leaf or the first little fruit forming. It feels like a small victory. When my zucchini finally produced its first flower, I took a picture like it was a newborn baby. Watching something grow because you looked after it gives you such a strong sense of accomplishment. Gardening's also incredibly therapeutic. After a long or stressful day, I often step out onto the balcony just to check on the plants. There's something calming about touching the soil, inhaling the scent of basil, or watching water soak into the leaves. It slows your mind down. Sometimes I don't even do anything productive. I just sit there and enjoy the quiet. It's like a mini escape from the noisy world. Another benefit is that it's eco-friendly. When you grow your own vegetables, you automatically reduce packaging waste, plastic bags, and the transportation needed to bring food from farms to stores. It makes you feel a little more responsible and connected to the environment. Even on a small scale like a balcony garden, you're contributing to a greener lifestyle. So when you combine all of these things, the freshness, the satisfying progress, the therapeutic calm, and the eco-friendly benefits, you realise why so many people love growing their own vegetables. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson on vocabulary for growing vegetables. We explored plants, gardening setups, useful verbs, descriptive adjectives, common challenges, and the benefits of gardening, all through stories and real-life imagery. Practice speaking these phrases aloud. Imagine your own little garden, and soon you'll be able to talk confidently about this topic in any IELTS speaking exam. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.